I also, Mr. Co-Chair and my colleagues, we wish to observe that we should hold the sovereignty and territorial integrity of DRC, including the need to minimize the influence of extra-Africa actors outside the continent so that they don't completely undermine this effort. We therefore wish to emphasize that this process is extremely important so that it's the continent of Africa finding solutions for Africa's problems. We highlight the request by the AU to set up a joint AU EAC SADC coordination mechanism to provide technical support to enhance coordination and complement the Luanda and Nairobi processes in their merged form, in close coordination and collaboration with other concerned regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, notably the ICGLR. I wish to reiterate that it is important to establish a tripartite technical committee bringing together EAC, SADC, and AU to streamline mediation efforts and to enhance coordination, including joint resource mobilization, both human resource, financial, to emphasize that there is a need for clarity on the roles of the facilitators in the joint Nairobi-Luanda processes. We highlight the request by the AU to set up a joint AU EAC SADC coordination mechanism to provide technical support to enhance coordination and complement the Luanda and Nairobi processes in their merged form, in close coordination and collaboration with other concerned regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, notably the ICGLR. I wish to reiterate that it is important to establish a tripartite technical committee bringing together EAC, SADC, and AU to streamline mediation efforts and to enhance coordination, including joint resource mobilization, both human resource, financial, to emphasize that there is a need for clarity on the roles of the facilitators in the joint Nairobi-Luanda processes. Also emphasize the need to urgently conclude the expanded panel of facilitators. I also want to acknowledge that on the 1261st meeting of the Peace and Security Council meeting of the African Union held on 14th February 2025 at the level of heads of state and government on the situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The AU, I want to commend the AU for endorsing the communique of the Joint EAC Summit of Heads of States and Government convened on 8th February 2025 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The communique of the Extraordinary Summit of the Heads of State and Government of the Southern African Development Community SADC held on 31st January 2025, and the communique of the 24th Extraordinary Summit of the East Africa Community Heads of States on the recent developments in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo held on 29th January 2025. In our conversations, we have to underscore that the humanitarian toll continues to rise, amplifying calls for urgent regional and international intervention to prevent further suffering and displacement of the vulnerable, especially children, women. For instance, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, estimates that the resurgence of conflict in the province of South Kivu in the eastern DRC has forced more than 700,000 people, nearly half of them children, to flee their homes. More than 1,000 schools have been closed, disrupting the education of over 300,000 students. In Bukavu alone, approximately 19 schools have turned into makeshift shelters for displaced families. Therefore, it is important that we have an immediate ceasefire and that all parties converging at the table for talks are the only potent options to bring sustainable peace in DRC. I also want to welcome the United Nations Security Council Resolution 273, adopted by the Security Council at its 9,965 fifth meeting on 21st February 2025, which among other aspects endorses regional efforts, including that by the African Union, the East African Community, the Economic Community of Central African States, ECAS, the International Conference of the Great Lakes Region, and the Southern African Development Community, SADC. In particular, notes the high-level meetings and efforts under Luanda and Nairobi mediation processes to restore peace and security in the region. Kenya will fully support all these processes. I also want to recall the directive by the heads of state and government during the Dar es Salaam Joint EAC SADC Summit to match the Luanda and the Nairobi processes. And bearing in mind that the Luanda process is also an AU process, emphasize on the need for the joint EAC SADC Secretariat to work together in accelerating the implementation of this directive. So today, we follow up on the resolutions and direction given to us by our heads of state on February 8th this year, 2025. Let me mention that the East African Community Foreign and Defense Ministers met in Nairobi, in Kenya, on the 15th of March 2025, and deliberated on the security situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo and DRC, and also received the report of the joint EAC SADC Chief of Defense Forces on the meeting held in Dar es Salaam, the United Republic of Tanzania. The ministers' meeting is a herald of the summit of heads of state and government, and therefore the ministerial meeting should refine several proposed strategies for onward consideration by the heads of states and government before implementation. In our conversations, we have to underscore that the humanitarian toll continues to rise, amplifying calls for urgent regional and international intervention to prevent further suffering and displacement.
Angola. Thank you. We have Republic of Burundi and their delegation. Democratic Republic of Congo and their delegation. Federal Republic of Somalia and their delegation. Republic of Madagascar is joining us online virtually. Republic of Malawi and their delegation. Republic of Rwanda and the delegation.